Okay, how about that? There we go. So this is why it's very important as a good Stream Academy tip to always check to make sure that your audio settings are the same as they were last time you went in, because when you're changing an account, when you're sharing an account like we are with Team Sanity, it is very easy to sort of forget to switch over drivers. And guess who forgot to do that? Me.
I once finished Alien Isolation the last 10 minutes of end content of the game in silence.
Yep.
So I understand.
Yep.
The end. Oh god, it's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Still recovering.
Yeah, we're still recovering. It's okay. But see, this is also one of those things that I always like to point out. And thank you, Nucleic Nurse, for the question. So for those of you who don't know, I have been recovering from dental surgery. So I have a mouth filled with all sorts of fascinating sutures and stitch work. I'll spare you all the gory details. But if you see me just kind of be the Tom York of Radiohead in my diction, so rather than being, all open mouthed and what have you, I'm going to just kind of go up here and then very barely move my mouth.
Yes.
It's going to be, yeah.
We want to make sure that you are well and that you stay healthy.
Yeah. So that's also good. But no, thank you so much for the check-in. I sincerely appreciate it, especially because there's so much that kind of goes into that. But when we're talking about, refining ourselves, getting better with ourselves, taking stock and, doing the things we need to do to take care of ourselves, a lot of times we can forget what qualities that we have, and today's Stream Academy is in fact all about that, because when it comes to content, we can kind of fall into a rut. Did you see that very smooth segue, by the way?
I did. I also saw the magical coffee fairy.
Oh,
delivered coffee to you. How did I get one of those?
I know, right? Magical coffee fairies. It was great. I am so thankful for Magical Coffee Fairy, because they are saving my life right now.
Magical. I want one. I want 5. Can I have 5 that just follow me around in my daily life and bring me coffee?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we're going to be talking about narrowing your content down, because when it comes to presenting your content, it can be really easy to sort of fall into a rut and to sort of start doing everything that everyone else is doing, which isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes, there are standards, there are practices. You go ahead and go along with your genre. But other times, it's you want to differentiate yourself. You want to be a little bit unique, So like Cuddle, is very unique as far as a streamer. I don't know why I'm stuck in a Brooklyn accent, but here we are.
I'm here for it.
But yeah, so what is the process of making yourself stand out and be a unique streamer? Cuddle, just as a question, what was the process like for you before we sort of get into the big slideshow? Like when you were deciding how to sort of brand your own content the way you wanted it to be?
Well, I think for me, it was a little bit more about trying to figure out what the greater purpose of the stream was, and then mix that with whatever I could do as far as content was concerned to merge those two together, if that makes sense. So for me, I want to make sure that people feel accepted, that people feel loved, and that they have hope that whatever dark place they're in now, that it'll get better. And being able to merge that with the things that I do on stream, I think is where that uniqueness came from.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And so I love that you brought up purpose, and I love that you brought up a clarity of vision, almost like a vision statement.
I'm a pro, so thank you.
Like you really nailed that. And I think that's going to be part of this process too, is coming up with, sort of a kind of goal statement. And maybe, just maybe, that'll be a little bit of homework for you to do out there, streamers. Just saying,
You're giving me homework for a second. I was like,
no, you're not.
God,
you're good. So thankfully no homework there. Hello, Cheesy Sandwich. It is good to see you. We are going to be talking about how to narrow down your content for your stream, and we're just about to start the presentation. So let's go ahead and switch over. Woo! Just like that, we're there.
Oh,
so we're going to be talking about narrowing down your content ideas. Now, it can be, easy to think that thinking outside the box, when someone says, look, you got to think outside the box if you want to be a successful streamer, that it can be just a matter of visual design. And I don't want to downplay visual design totally, right? Because it is a big part of what makes a stream entertaining. But thinking outside the box isn't exhausted by visual design. There's so much more. And we're going to be kind of, talking about that. Also, thank you, Skeelsy, for being the tired coffee fairy. I adore you.
You so nice.
I absolutely adore you. So yeah, when you're coming up with engaging content, I kind of think of it in the terms of 3 specific tools.
Okay, 3. Got it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Should I write these down?
If you want to write these down, that might be a good idea. You can also join the Discord, and the slides are posted in the Discord, so you can download them at any time. All you have to do is look in lesson plans and lesson plans channel in Discord, and they're like right there. And it's pretty cool. Thank you, Cuddle, for putting in the Discord command, because some of us always forget the commands. Because we haven't had enough coffee. Not that I'm exactly. Sweet caffeine. Okay, so when it comes to the 3 specific tools, it's experimentation, spotlighting, and take home value. Now, those are big, broad terms. We're going to go into what those actually mean. So, experimentation,
Not just the thing you do in college.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just the thing you do in college. It's not just the thing you do in your 20s. And it's not just the thing that, you sit down on a bench in front of a microscope and then get yelled at by your primary investigator. No, it's much more than that. It is a conceptual tool where risks are taken and data is collected. Right? Experimentation is about taking risks, but it's also about collecting data. You do both. If you just collect data while doing the same thing, it's not going to be as useful. And if you just take risks without collecting data, look, I can't tell you how to live your life, but just, you got to be careful. So experimentation involves taking what is expected of your kind of content, whatever kind of content that might be, and playing with it, just going in and playing with whatever is there. Well, okay, that's a really broad statement too. How do we break that down? What are we doing? Well, okay.
I love this energy. I don't know where is this coming from, but it is giving me life. So continue, please.
I'm happy. I'm happy. It's the coffee, but it's also like I'm really jazzed about this kind of thing. I get passionate about it.
Passion is brilliant.
Yeah. So when it comes to experimentation, like, the first thing you got to do is know what the expectations are for your kind of content, right? What are the expectations for the kind of stuff you do? So if you're a variety horror streamer, what is the expectations there? If you're a inspiration and comfort streamer, what are the expectations? A craft streamer, a drawing streamer, a hype streamer, all of them have different expectations. I'll give you an example of what those look like after we get through this list. Nuke, there are some growing pains with this one. I think at least there was for me personally. Oh, absolutely. That's another big reason why I'm kind of passionate about it, because this is a huge stumbling block for most of the streamers I know including myself. Because, whew, man. And this is something that keeps on sort of iterating, right? So like once you get to where you want to be, sometimes you're like, hey, what's the next step? You can use this process again, but we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself. So first thing you do, know what the expectations are. Second thing you do is you figure out which expectation to you is the most tired or rote or most well expected. When we talk about an expectation being tired, we often think of it in terms of it's predictable. It's overly predictable, right?
Right.
So can you think of, so I think both of us stream horror. That's correct, Cuddle. So what might be one sort of expectation of horror streamers that you think is sort of overly predictable?
Jump scares, big screams.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I still do that though.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like some of us just can't help it, right? You know, it's just like, I mean, I've done the jump scare and scream.
Nuke like nurse.
I wasn't going to call out Nuke on his birthday. I was going to give him a break. So, but yeah, absolutely. That's part of the expectation. And Evans, that's a really great episode idea. And in fact, I think that might be a future lesson. If you have no idea what kind of streamer you want to be. If
you want to put that in the Discord.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Here, let me give you that link in case you didn't know what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And Tesha's going to bring up a good point where, there's actually a caveat later. I found that if I don't show I'm scared, people aren't as invested. That brings up an interesting thing when you're playing with expectations, and we'll definitely get to that. And it is absolutely Nuke's birthday, Skillsy, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
happy birthday to Nuke.
Happy birthday to Nuke. Happy birthday, dear Nuke Lake Nurse.
Oh my God, I love this.
Happy birthday to you. Okay.
I don't have a lighter, but if I did.
I don't know where that came from. It's the coffee speaking.
I love it.
56th birthday. Okay. Oh my God.
So I think that horror streamers getting scared at the content is an expectation that people want when they watch it. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's not more to offer as a horror streamer. Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what we're getting at, right? You can have these constituent components, but the ball shouldn't stop at the expectations that people bring in. It should keep rolling forward. I had found a horror streamer many moons ago. And there was a big burly man, big thick beard, looked like lumberjack and or I don't know, biker, something, insert something super masculine and just like, I'm not scared of nothing. And when he would play Phasmo, he would scream like a very, very high pitched scream that you would think was coming from a girl. I love that. No matter what, like a little girl. And no matter whether he was actually scared or not, it was the most loud, obnoxious scream I have ever heard in my entire life. And he made video compilations of just his screams, where just scream. But when he didn't scream, it wasn't funny. Yeah. And nobody wanted to watch him if he wasn't screaming. Right. Yeah, and that can actually be a danger too. I'm really, that's a great example of that too, because when you playing to audience expectations, it can be really easy to sort of fall into the trap of, the one trick pony, And if people only know you for being an obnoxious screamer, and you're not already diversifying what you're doing in an interesting and engaging way, and taking risks and sort of pushing the envelope forward, then it's just like, it's there's an old Simpsons bit where the whole classroom is saying, Bart, say the line, and then he says the line, and
he just looks dejected, and they're all cheering in front of him, and he's like, oh my god, this is what my life has become. Mad World plays. So when it comes to thinking about entertaining your audience, it isn't just a one-trick pony, right? You're not just catering to every expectation they bring, because sometimes you can surpass those expectations. I mean, that's kind of, thinking about that kind of thing means that you can't really surpass the expectations of your audience if you're constantly just giving them exactly what they want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think it's, you have to meet the base level expectations of what it is you're wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can add on the frosting and the candles and the flavory fruity bits that make it special and unique to you.
Right. Exactly. So the third thing that you do as far as expectation or experimentation is you make an active choice to try something different, whatever that might be. Right. So then, and Tesha's bringing up cracking jokes to warm up the audience, that kind of thing. I used to, a long time ago, before, but in the before times, I used to start my streams with a poetry reading. And I would read spooky poetry that would,
I love that.
it was fun. And then a bunch of people got impatient. And then I went, we'll just go right into it. But I might bring it back. Who knows? So, but that's okay. Because sometimes you experiment and it works for a little bit and then it doesn't work. And that can happen too. But yeah. Tasha, thank you. So, and these things kind of come in waves. That's another thing to keep in mind too. Okay. So we already used the horror streamer example, but we can talk about it a little more. What are the expectations? Play horror games. That's a really basic horror. That's a basic.
I'm already bad at that. So.
Comment about horror media, something, right? Should have some kind of tangible reaction due to the horror media, whether on the audience side or the streamer side. There should be some kind of creepy or spooky kinds of aesthetics of play in the presentation somehow. So, you have like a spooky overlay or a spooky intro movie or creepy music that you make, and it's in the background and people are like, oh, what is happening? That's usually a sort of expectations. And of course, jump scares all day, every day, forever. It's all about the jump scares, both for good or for ill.
I mean, give the people what they want, right?
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes, the jump scares, like for instance, I don't jump scare that often, to tell you the truth. And I've been horror streamer for a long time. So instead, because my angle was to be the Bob Ross of horror. So we're just, going along there, and it's like, okay, right now we're being chased by a horrible monster, and I need to rethink my life decisions. But maybe, just maybe, we're going to make it out of this. We're going to make it out of this, you and me, right now.
I love that so much.
Right. You have to avoid the happy little stabby stabs. That's right, Tasha.
Happy little stabby stabs. That's amazing. Oh my God.
So, and there's also the expectation of like dick spur or some sort of sound alert system and that kind of thing. So yeah, bunch of expectations there, right? And these are just, these expectations were structured not because I knew them beforehand, but because I'm thinking about the experiences of other horror streamers, what horror streamers typically have. So when you're thinking about people in your niche, whatever that might be, whether you're really into Valorant or Fortnite or Destiny, look at what the other streamers are doing and kind of going, okay, what are the commonalities? What are the themes? And write them down, get a notebook and be like, okay, so first they play Destiny. That's a requirement to be a Destiny streamer. Usually. And then second, they have, they tend to play this kind of raid. Okay. And then third, all their overlays seem to do this. Fourth, they have this thing going on in the background. Okay, that's interesting. And just noting step by step by step and building it that way. Questions so far? Comments? Cuddle, you got anything?
I am gonna save mine until the next slide.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Alright. So, I want to bring up a necessary caveat. Be prepared for tension if you subvert expectations in a particular way, right? I'm a hype streamer, so I do ASMR.
That's how you do it.
ASMR hype. We all know that Nucleic Nurse is one of the most entertaining streamers that we know. You can hear it in my mouth noises. Anyway. Jesus, I was saying the things that are in my mind, but so good to hear them out loud. I'm so glad to hear that we are also here to affirm your intuitions as well, and say, hey,
100%.
You're on the right path. You're on the right path. Absolutely. But yeah, a necessary caveat, if you're going to subvert some expectations, you got to be prepared for some tension. If you're actively choosing against certain expectations for your content genre, it can result in, an audience, is being conditioned to expect certain things. And so they get a little bit miffed when you're not, and that can create a dissonance, but it can be overcome with a little bit of prep, right? So I just brought up, I'm using myself as an example, not because I'm just being a self-serving person. It's because I want to make sure I can use someone as an example that I can sort of treat harshly, and not have to worry about being nice. I can just be like, no, bam, this is the mistake I made.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So when it comes to subverting expectations, I mentioned that I don't do jump scares. Like I think maybe a handful of times, all strangely enough, all by the same developer. Apparently something about his games really gets under my skin. But I'm not a big jumper. That's not what I do. I think even when I am jumping, it's sort of like, it's sort of like that. It's not like, full.
Where's the Dream Date board game clip? I need it right now.
Oh, and then there's the Dream Date board game. So a quick context on that. I was playing.
I don't think we need context.
No context. Okay. You know what?
Board game.
Let's just leave it. You don't get context. We're done. You have to figure it out yourself. So yeah, it's like sometimes it's stuff like that, right? And it creates some fascinating engagement and a really memorable clip in that case.
Oh my God. But I'm getting the context. Hold on.
Okay. So when it's only happened with Chill as Art and Devour. That's absolutely right. But the fact that I don't jump scare, I still hold audience engagement. It's something that I'm still always surprised by. And why is that? And we're going to get to sort of what you do to fill in the experimentation in the next step, which is spotlighting. But you have to fill in and exceed that audience expectation because, yeah, they're coming from the jump scare. But if you don't give them the jump scare and instead give them something better, something that's more engaging, something that's more than just press button, make streamer go, woo. And that kind of thing. It can be really, really enjoyable. Tesha brings up, I had streamed something called Michigan Report from Hell. That game did not jump scare me. It was more just a continual WTF, a continual like, what the hell is happening here? And there's the context. Thank you, Cuddle, for the Dream Date board game. But it's a matter of not just breaking the expectation and not doing anything to replace it. You do have to do something to replace it that basically says, hey, I know you came here for the jump scares, but here's something better. Here's something that's a little more engaging.
Right. And I kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So what's some examples?
So for me, and this is why I don't call myself a horror streamer, because I do play other things, but it's a lot less about what I play. And it's a lot more about the mission behind the stream than it is about the thing that I play. So the thing that I play is like a medium in which it gets me to my goal rather than it being about, the game itself and about the scares and the spooks and all of the screams. I mean, those absolutely fucking happen. But that's not the main meat and potatoes. So in that sense, I've used all these expectations of a traditional horror streamer and I still give them, but they're actually the icing on the cake rather than the cake itself. So I've used the traditional expectations and then subverted them with my own.
I absolutely adore what you said earlier. The game is a medium for your goals.
Like paint is to a painter.
Right. And I think this, if nothing else from today, if nothing else, you just take that away, because the game is not the entertainment value. It is you. The game, True. You work through the game. The game is your medium. The game is your paint. The game is your clay. The game is your instrument to make you look good. And
people want to watch you. They want to fall in love with you, with whatever it is that you're bringing to your stream. The game, I mean, unless your whole shtick is that you are the best player at said game.
Right.
Most people are not coming to your channel to kind of hang out and watch the gameplay. They want to see you. They want to talk to you. They want to have the interaction with you. Even people like Ludwig and stuff. Or take Pokemon, for example.
Yeah.
Pokemon is huge, right?
Yeah.
And Pokemon is selling Pokemon. She's not selling whatever she's watching, the avatar thing, whatever. She's selling herself, the personality. That's why people lose their fucking shit whenever she gives them attention.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want, is they want the attention. They're vying and competing and hoping that one day they'll, they'll read my message and I got called,
Right.
It's about the person.
Yeah.
So if you make you the content, then the rest is whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. And so thank you so much for putting it that way, because I think that's a lovely way to do it. Thank you so much, Cheesy, because this is something we get really fired up about, because
it's so true.
When we're thinking about content creation and streaming and everything like that, you can get sucked into that trap of like, oh, the reason why I don't have a lot of followers is because I don't stream Fortnite. And I'm like, no.
Or it's I love this one. It's because I don't have a set of boobs.
Oh my God.
I'm like, shut the fuck up, you guys. But I even fell into this. So I was really scared when I first started out and getting like really kind of serious into streaming at the beginning of last year. I was worried because I didn't want people to say that I was a horror streamer, because I wanted to leave that window open for other things. I wanted to be able to play, Minecraft or Mass Effect or something. I wanted to be able to play other things.
Right.
I didn't want to get trapped in like a, what do you want to, like a niche. I didn't want to get trapped there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I realized that like I'm the content, not the games that I play.
Right.
That's like, it was like a switch that went off in my brain. It's like, bitch, it doesn't matter what game you play because you're the content, not the game.
Exactly. You are the content. And we're actually going to be talking a little bit about the boobs thing in a later step, because we need to have a reality check about spotlighting your talents and what that can mean and that kind of thing. Because boy,
spotlighting my talents. Oh shit! I gotta go get a different shirt on. Hold on.
Not like that. So yeah, absolutely. If you're a horror streamer and you decide to play like MLB The Show, like it can seem a little really dissonant until, you get on the microphone and then you're like, yes, I've started my training and I'm going to complete my mission. I've been receiving messages from the bull and the bat, and I too will know their divine providence. And then you just create like improv a whole spooky story, playing baseball. You could do that. So yeah,
I feel that on a spiritual level.
Right. Exactly. And yep, we're gonna get to the misogyny conversation. Absolutely.
Thank you, Tesha.
Yeah, but thank you. Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered experimentation. We've talked about that. We should talk about spotlighting, right?
Right.
You've identified which expectation you want to work against. What the heck do you replace it with? This is where spotlighting comes into play. So, spotlighting refers to a showing off a skill, a talent, an ability to an audience, and encouraging interest in that, right? So, this really can be any skill you like. I am so serious about this. Origami. Like literally last night, one of the streamers that I saw, he was playing Darkwood, and he paused stream because someone had a channel point redeem for origami. And he made the tiniest, I swear, the dexterity on this man, the tiniest little paper crane. It was like this big. And I'm like sitting here going, how did you do that? Next thing you know, someone else redeems like, hey, can you make a little puffy star? I am talking about Pico Tesha. And he made this star. He made air puff origami with no fuss, no muss, just like bam, 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 little 3D star. And I'm like, what? What is happening? How did this happen? So it can be something like that, like origami or knitting or speed drawing. One of the most hilarious ones that I saw what for speed drawing is taking classic pieces of art and then recreating them in MS Paint.
Oh, wow.
The streamer took Saturn Devouring His Son by Francisco Goya, which is a very grotesque, dark painting of this giant dude eating another dude. And she made it in MS Paint, gave the Saturn googly eyes. And
oh my God,
it was perfect. Or if you, let's say you don't have, you're not visually, you don't want to do visual stuff. You want to do more oral stuff. I mean, I do voice impressions. There are people who dance. There are people who, get out their guitar. Reluctant Hermit is a really good example of this, where literally it'll just be like a little musical number. So whatever your talent is, no matter how quote unquote useless it might seem, it can be really great to fill in that expectation. Yeah, Cuddle.
Would you consider humor a talent?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would. I would consider humor a talent because it's harder than everyone thinks. It comes very naturally, but at the same time, it does take practice and cultivation. And humor is a kind of performance that requires a kind of craft. Even if you're a horrible dad joke punster, that still takes craft to be able to sell, right? So humor absolutely counts as a skill or talent.
What about being able to provide love and acceptance to others?
That would be a talent as well, because in fact, that's actually really tricky. As a person who also has a pick me up, a sort of pep talk redeem, it's a very hard skill to cultivate unless you've had a lot of practice, because very frequently strangers will come into your stream and they will ask for a pep talk and you will have literally no idea who they are.
Nothing. No idea. None whatsoever.
0%. And they're like, give me a pep talk. And I'm like, you are a name on a screen.
Just like, whoop. No.
Exactly. And so what you have to do is just using very subtle context clues. You have to sort of go, okay, let's aim here in this broad general direction and then narrow it down as we go. That is a huge talent. That is a huge skill. And it is very, very tricky. Tesha, if I could figure out a good way to incorporate keys into your stream, I would be into that. Keys are big and needs in its own space and separate setup. And there are logistical difficulties to some of these, right? And it might include some thinking creatively about the space and if it's available for your space. Like, I am not in an optimal space. I'm not going to lie. Like, for the things I want to do, I need a bigger space. Does that mean that, I don't do anything? No. It just means that I'm like, okay, all right, what do I do? Okay, I'll do this.
With what you have, and you try to figure out a way that you can still do as much of that thing as possible, or a different way than what you had anticipated.
Exactly.
Or originally thought of.
Exactly. And sometimes that can give you gifts, right? No such thing as a horrible dad joke. Correct.
Correct.
Just correct. Pep talk redeems everything. I appreciate that, Tesha. And you can at least read the name on the screen. Exactly. Skillsy, I was honestly shocked that the redeem where I grab a house plant of mine and talk about it got any uptake at all. See, this is a really good example of thinking creatively. Sometimes, I know a lot of gardeners. There are soap operas between plants that are entirely imaginary, but they're there.
Isn't there a TikTok account that does that too?
Yeah.
I forgot what they're called.
Oh my God, what are they called?
I know. It's the couple.
Yeah.
I forgot. I'll come back to it. It's fine.
Exactly.
It'll hit me. I'll be like, oh my God, it's that.
So, even if it's making up stories about your plants, or being like, hello, my name is 24 All Day Allergy, and today I'm here to present to you an example of spotlighting. Now, you might think I'm an allergy bottle, so I don't really know how to spotlight anything because I'm a non-sentient object. But you'd be wrong. So even something as something like that.
You gotta be careful when you put them jokes in there.
Yeah, exactly. Spit take, a spit take is a badge of honor. Nuke, so what you're saying is I need to buy a football stadium. Nuke, I'm not saying you need to, but if you did,
you'd have to also make sure that you wore the Dallas Cowboys cheerleading costume every day to stream. So
that's right. That's absolutely right. And
to go together.
Yeah. We can be Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders together. And look, I have the legs for it. I just got to shave.
Right after the cinnamon bun, please.
Right after the cinnamon bun. Exactly. Oh Lord. Nuke needs the Michigan football stadium with over 100,000 seats. That's the room you need. So fun fact, I'm like an hour and a half away from that thing. And yeah. If you did buy the big house, as it is called, I would absolutely show up. Anyway. Whatever sort of craft skill you might have, or even might want to have. Now this is a little trickier, because you don't have to be good at the skill in order to do it. And sometimes your audience can get really invested if they watch you grow.
Or sometimes the worse it is, the better.
Yes, exactly. Like one of the most hilarious things, and like this is really good humor, but like on the compliment end, it's like a little which Cuddle had a wonderful, I adore this redeem. I just want to make sure this is super clear.
Oh,
the awkward compliment redeem.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're fucking brilliant.
Like the awkward compliment redeem you have, like as compliments, you're like, but as humor, they are perfect. They are fucking perfect. And like you sell it absolutely genuinely. And I fucking love that. Cause I'm trying to, I can't even come up with an example. There's, I can't
Hold
do
my beer.
Huh?
Hold my beer.
Yeah.
All right. I got one. The first time I saw you, I was like, okay, this person seems nice. And now I'm like, you have the exact same thoughts as me. This is neat. Or one of my favorite ones is the Napoleon Dynamite one.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that scene in Napoleon Dynamite where Kip goes, after he knocks over all of 9 bowling pins? Okay, so that's exactly how I feel when I see your name pop into my screen.
See, and like as compliments, like if someone was like 100% doubling down serious, like it would be like, oh, that's awkward, but uses humor. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and I love it. I adore it. It's one of my favorite redeems you have. So, Skillsy, I am making a new redeem. I awkwardly ask you to prom. Wow.
Oh, please, yes.
Wow.
brilliant. I love that.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, you don't have to be good at the thing, good at the skill. Sometimes being not good at it is even better. And if you're like, seriously, you're not wanting to be ironic or funny, you just want to, genuinely get better at it. If I wanted to try and take up drawing, right, which has been something I've always wanted to learn, take up drawing and show growth on stream, that can be like a good investment. Sometimes your audience will be like, wow, you're growing so much. Oh my God, you could then take your prom pic in MS Paint and post it on the socials. That's great, Cuddle. That's great. That's perfect. That's perfect. Yes. I love it. So yeah, sometimes the most hilarious stuff comes out of things like that. And I think we were just proving this point. So yeah, don't let, perfectionism or perfect be the enemy of hilarious here. You don't have to be perfect at the thing. In fact, sometimes you not being perfect is precisely what makes it great.
What makes you relatable too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Super relatable too. Cause yeah. Now, this is the reality check warning. We already kind of covered this and I want to make sure to bring it up. You should keep yourself safe when you're spotlighting your own talent. Okay. Yep. Keep yourself as safe as possible.
Working on chairs is not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. We can't really pretend that there aren't, misogynist or racist jerks who will go up to people spotlighting their stuff, creative streamers who are doing the thing and just insult their ability because, whatever reason, or at the very least, armchair experts who express jealousy through criticizing folks who go out there and give it a shot. I see this a lot with especially AFAB or assigned female at birth or female musicians, especially female drummers. People go in their chats and just be complete jerks. And I'm like, guys, they're actually killing it. You're just, what's going on? And then you kind of get into that sort of weird misogyny space where it's like, well, they're only successful because they have boobs. And I'm like, no, they're successful because they're really good at drumming and they're literally drumming out a Pantera song wearing a Toad cap, doing the Toad scream from Super Mario as the lead vocals. Like that's why, because that's fucking great. So yeah, this is just a really, like when you go out there, make sure you're aware and have mods ready, especially if you feel vulnerable doing whatever you're doing, have your mods, have your back. Yeah, Toad Girl is absolutely amazing. I wish I could remember her name, but she is freaking amazing. And yeah, unwarranted criticism for like some folks like Skeelsy who have an excess of fight energy. Like they're going to say, hey, sure, criticize me, but that just means I'm going to make your day not great. Or, you have your mods at your back. Cheesy. I was having issues as my full thing was having my kids on with me. It was all great until we started to pick up numbers and then got some creepy messages. Yeah.
And you're not the only one. I know of a couple of other people who had their children on stream and that was kind of starting to happen. As a mom, as a teacher, I can tell you kids on the internet, regardless, is just always going to be a really dicey kind of thing. Sometimes it'll work out great. Sometimes it won't. But that's always going to be difficult because there's such a vulnerable population.
Yeah.
And anything that happens to an adult, let's say it's like 5 damage, right? If it's against a kid in any way, it's going to be like 55 damage.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 10 times worse. In the way that we interpret it and feel it because it's such a vulnerable population. So
yeah, exactly. And I think, thinking about vulnerability, not only in your own life, but also in the people around you who are going to be on camera, that is absolutely crucial. I'm so glad you brought that up, Cheesy, and to cuddle that, because that is such a huge thing to keep in mind when you're presenting content. So as I say, if you have something like RSD, which is rejection sensitive dysphoria, I bring that up because I have RSD and like I manage it really actively and I do things to help out with that. But if like it's unmanaged, you're not doing anything, like be careful, take care of you first, because otherwise what should be a productive exercise and content creation becomes a torture pit, and no one wants that. Yeah.
No.
No.
It's not fun for you, but it's also not fun to watch either.
Yeah.
So if you allow those things to happen and you don't wield your band hammer appropriately,
Yeah.
then you're going to find that the community that was once thriving will no longer, because nobody wants to watch that thing. So
Exactly.
if I would view wielding the band hammer as a healthy practice, and something that is not only for the good of yourself, but also for the good of your community, for the good of your content, for the good better of your stream. So it's a practice in self health.
Yeah, exactly. So don't be afraid of that band hammer. Go ahead and use it liberally and with gusto.
Fuck him up.
Exactly.
That's it.
Look, it's right.
You can always unban them.
Yeah, you can, but normally, no, it's just like, all right, you're gone. All right, so that's spotlighting. Now we can go to take home value. Now this sounds very businessy. It can extreme, and because, I struggle with business speak, so that always seems extremely vague. But it'll make more sense as we go on. Also, having someone screen your comments, etc., before you do isn't weakness. It can be self-care. Yes, absolutely. That can sometimes be the difference between, feeling really awful about yourself and feeling like, oh, this is just like a weird little constructive critique, or this is just a troll. Whatever, move on with my life, get going. So yeah, absolutely. Having a comment screener can be very, very useful. So take home value refers to what your audience will take with them after the stream ends. Okay. Mm-hmm. This can be either material or it can be conceptual. So we're going to do the easy case first. That's going to be the material goods. This is probably pretty easy to imagine. This is Steam codes, merchandising. You can have, Cuttlefish the flamethrower,
My God, yes. Oh, please. God, I want my own flamethrower. I was going to put up our lesbianist wife merch that I just got.
Yeah. Perfect. Example. Yeah, that's a perfect example. You can have t-shirts, you can have hats, you can have action figures. You can have, actually, if anyone finds out where you can make your own action figures, please let me know. That'd be freaking awesome.
Be right back.
Right. So, but yeah, like this is your merchandising kind of thing. I want that flamethrower BB, right? I just want my own Funko. Oh yeah, having your own Funko Pop, that'd be pretty cool. Oh my, wait, what? The Cuddle, what did you give me? So I know we're in the middle of a slideshow, but like I gotta see this. Oh, custom action figures. Holy,
oh God, there's so many.
Holy wow.
And bobbleheads. Oh God, sorry.
Oh my God.
Not sponsored. It could be sponsored. I mean, sponsor us, please.
I didn't even know this. You could build your custom action figure today. Okay. And then you get a console. Okay, it's sweet. Okay. All right, I'm going to look at that later. Okay, it's cool.
Sanity needs action figures.
Right.
I'm just going to go cry. I'll be right back.
Oh my God. That would be like, can you imagine if we all got our own action figures and then made like a diorama, like made a whole thing, or like Robot Chicken, like a stop motion animation thing.
And that's where we made our Nuke and Wonton calendar.
Perfect. Mwah. Perfect. Let's do it. Oh my God.
Yes, please.
So sometimes you run into with material take home value. It's not just for the audience, it's also for the streamer, because all of a sudden we're like, oh wait, shit, I can do all this such cool shit with an action figure. So yeah. There's that. If you're a craft streamer, you can also link to your Etsy so people can buy things you make on stream. So I one of my good friends is a craft streamer, and they have a 3D printer, and they actually make woodworking stuff. So hold on, I'm gonna get one of their examples here. This is literally made out of wood.
Ooh.
And it is super cool. They even have a nice little watermark. It says Crafty NB. It's a little bee. It's very, very cute. It's the of course the exposure is like, no, I will not show you, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But everything they make on stream is usually in order that someone has purchased or is available to order on their Etsy, and you could do that too if that's the kind of streamer you are. So that's something to think about. But then there's the non-obvious stuff, right? This is the conceptual realm, not just a realm in the new Doctor Strange movie. It's also something that you too use for everyday life. You know, but then you might ask yourself, okay, how could something conceptual be of value though? How could that you know, do that? And I would like to point out that ideas aren't useless.
No, not at all. Not the slightest bit.
The take-home value of an idea, of a concept that's inspiring. I call it a novel spark. A novel spark. Something that inspires a fire to light inside you, metaphorically speaking. If I was literally speaking, I would be a lot more careful. So put simply, if your idea has changed someone's behavior or perspective on something or another, then that has take-home value. Do not denigrate that, especially for yourself. Your ideas have value. The way that you bring your ideas to life with wild hand motions, like that matters. So yeah, this is something that often doesn't get, you know, a lot of traction because people are like, well, no, the only things that have take-home value, t-shirts and hats and
so much more.
It's so much more. It really is so much more. It can be the ideas. So what are some examples? Appreciation, you know, fostering a new perspective on how something was made and why. So Cuddle, what might be something that you've learned in the last 2 years that you previously didn't appreciate, and now you having sense, knowing how it's made? Sorry, okay, I had a brain fart there. I'm just like, how'd you say the word?
I think in the last couple of years, I have, since streaming, I think I've been paying more attention to the way the developers make video games.
Good.
And that has been, like, I had, when I was streaming Alien Isolation, I had one of the original game testers come into the stream, and they were talking to me about how, like, Easter eggs and stuff and how the game functions and the AI of the alien. But they also had told me that they took the driver's license pictures of all of the original game testers and put them as the lanyards that you find throughout the game.
Oh, that's
they
really
have little
nice.
pictures, the little collectibles. Those are the original game testers. And we're like, so which one are you? And they're like, I'm right here. We're like, oh my God.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. And yeah, that's a perfect example of appreciation where, like, you know, Alien Isolation, it's a fun game, but it's totally different when you have one of the game testers give you the inside scoop. And sometimes that's just what the take home value is that you learn about how something was made, or how, you know, what certain struggle or conflict or barriers that were overcome. That can make all the difference. And that's a huge take home value because all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, Alien Isolation, they use driver's license.
Oh my God, I love you. You're amazing.
Exactly. So that's one example. Another one is critique, helping folks see limitations and tensions in something so that way they can understand it better. You want a really good example of this? This stream. You know, we're helping, you know, we
Vanna White it.
Yeah, just do the Vanna White thing. Ding, ding, ding.
The green screen's all upset. It's like, you no longer have a hand.
Goodbye, hands. We no longer, where we're going, we don't need hands. So, but yeah, when we're talking about critique, it can often, you know, be a little bit of a scary word because it's like, oh dear, you know, we're gonna start picking apart things and people and things like that. Real creative critique, though, is not about just picking apart things just to pick them apart. They're also about, hey, here's some limitations with an otherwise good tool. You know, here's how you wouldn't use a hammer to prepare coffee. Though if you do, I have questions.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm like, just trying to think that one through.
right, exactly. It's like how coffee from hammer. But in illustrating that limitation, I've been making coffee wrong for a while now. Then that's it. So sometimes it can be instructive where, say someone was making coffee with a hammer and you're like, hey, there's an easier way. They're like, oh, I don't need the hammer to make the coffee. Or it could be that, hey, there's a limitation with the hammer, but you've somehow overcome it. In me sort of bringing it up. And now I'm really curious, how do you make coffee with a hammer? And then it starts a productive conversation rather than just being like, yeah, the devs for this game kind of suck because they took too long to do the thing and now it's all unbalanced. And by the way, blah, 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 blah. So that's not what we mean by critique. We mean a productive conversation that points out limitations and gets a creative discussion going. And that can be a huge take-home value.
Yes.
Finally, guidance. Teaching folks how to navigate through vague or complicated territory. Yet another thing that this stream is an example of.
It's very true.
So what do you think, Cuddle? Like, as far as guidance, can you think of an example of using guidance besides obviously our stream here, using guidance as a take-home value for a streamer? Like, what might that look like?
So for example, when you come into my stream, my main goal is to, at the end, make sure that you knew that somebody gave a damn about you, is like the little thing that I say. And that would be also a part of my providing guidance through whatever difficulty or hardship you are at that moment experiencing. So even if it's just a sense of support and togetherness and not being alone, that those feelings are more than enough to help guide someone through something difficult that they're going through.
That is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. And yeah, it can be a guidance in an emotional way or letting people know that they're not alone in whatever circumstances they find themselves in. Absolutely. And I think that's a really important thing to give people. Yeah, and it can also be like, okay, I'm also thinking of like different ways to guide folks. Like, I suppose you could physically guide folks in a certain way, where through bodily doubling. What am I turning into Mr. Flanders here?
You can have teaching streams too. Like, so if somebody's guiding you through how to play the piano or how to build a computer,
how to crochet. Like yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where, they're literally have their hands in frame. Then you go and you watch their hands and they go through it slow. So that way you can understand what the movement is doing. You can have those sorts of streams that absolutely has take home value. That's, not necessarily material. It's more conceptual and practice. So yeah, there's a bunch of examples here. The concept has a lot of take home value, so you don't have to sit here and be like, well, I'm too poor to give out Steam codes. It's okay. You don't have to bring out the Steam codes. Just, teach somebody something.
Very true. But there's a lot of value in that thought process too. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the, I don't have enough money to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You don't have to do giveaways to get people into your channel. And honestly, if that's what you're trying to do to get people in there, those are not the people who are going to stay.
Right.
Those aren't the people who are going to be your people, who want your content, who want you as their, one of their favorite streamers.
Right.
They're there for the gifts. They're there for the merch. They're there for that kind of stuff. Yeah. And that's not the kind of engagement that you're really wanting anyways.
Yeah, it's not sustainable engagement. It's oftentimes predicated on, what a sort of like transactional relationship in like a gross way, and you want to, with your community, you want to build something that's a little more sustainable and resilient and that kind of thing. And even if your community is only 10 people, having 10 real life people who are ride or die about you.
Yeah.
Like that makes a huge amount of difference.
It is. Imagine all those people sitting in a room.
Yeah.
All those people sitting in a room, and you're at the front, and you're just playing a game at a desk, and all those other people are just sitting at their desks going like this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
just watching you play.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. So, and yeah, Evans has a really, really good point. Creativity thrives on limitation, and that's absolutely correct. Sometimes limitation is exactly what you need. I have seen this happen over and over as a professional musician, where you have a band who has a really brilliant first album. And then they're given 1.5 million resources, and literally there's a name for it. It's called the sophomore slump, where they're given all these resources. The limitations are gone, but now they don't know what to push against. And now it's like there's no editors. There's nothing to sort of give them resistance or friction. And next thing you know, their album is not as good. And it might have been better had they had some more limitations put down. So yeah, I think the same applies to streamers, where sometimes it is our very limitations that force us to be creative and do something else with our stream. So
I like it.
Yeah. Now, foundation behind all this is what I call a positive self-assessment. This doesn't have, it sounds like very self-helpy, but I'm trying to sort of dial that back a little bit. If you're going to be streaming, whatever you're doing, you need to at least minimally believe yourself to be somewhat capable of doing something other than sitting down and gaming. Okay. Streaming is much more than just sitting down silently, being like, yes.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. Please, if you take nothing else out of this entire stream, take this right now. Please, for the love of me, do not just sit there and play a game in silence and expect people to pay attention and watch and engage.
Yeah.
Don't ignore people and then expect them to continue typing.
Exactly. And I noticed I missed in the chat, Beefy asked what Etsy was. Speaking of not ignoring people.
Oh no. Oh God.
So Etsy is a website where independent craft makers who knit, who do 3D printing stuff, who do all that, sell their wares. It's like a place you can go to look up people, and you can buy their crafts, their shawls, or whatever you like. So that is what Etsy is. It's a neat little website. But yeah, so you got to do something more than just sit down silently and game. And how do you figure out what that is? Well, you do a positive self-assessment on what you can do now and what you want to learn. It's not just about what you can do, but what you want to learn in the future. That's going to be the crucial thing, right? And you also want to go in with eyes open. You don't have to sit here and be all Tony Robbins about it, and just kind of go, oh, everything's going to be hunky dory. No, you can be realistic. You can be like, okay, so, for instance, I'm not that great a drawer. My visual art skills are very limited to video. Like that is where if I can do things with a keyboard and a mouse and a video timeline, I'm great. If you put a pencil in my hand, I'm just going to be like, well, good luck, everybody. Does that mean I hate my own drawing? No, it just means I'm aware of my limitations. So if I want to say, hey, I'm going to stream on Monday mornings, and we're going to have a nice little wake up with me stream where I develop my drawing skills and maybe talk to y'all about it. Like that is an option. But again, that requires honest self-reflection and honest positive self-assessment, because it's not me going, oh, I can't draw. I'm never going to be able to draw. And like, I totally get that feeling. Some days I have that, but like,
I'm just going to wake up and start playing PvP first person shooters and just die 1,000 times to finally get the one kill and be like,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Sometimes that's how it works. Like a good friend of mine often says, oh, I love losing and being last, and genuinely means it. Like genuinely means it, because it's like, no. Like it's a learning experience. So if you go in with eyes open about yourself, who you are, and giving yourself a fair shake, about what is needed to start doing the thing. You
Mhm.
know, to remember that the bar is not, you know, above the camera. It's actually,
No.
it's like the bar is like way below. Like I know y'all can't see it, but like it's like down beneath my desk. Like it's the bar is so far underground just to get started. And honestly, that's okay. People understand that you get started. Not everyone starts perfect.
Yeah. Oh, most people don't start perfect, in fact.
Exactly.
And the people that do start perfect actually started way before that.
Exactly.
Just did a lot of pre-stream prep is what that would be.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you know, it's a difficult thing to do something new, to try something new, to put yourself out there. And streaming is not an easy thing,
No,
period. It's really fucking hard.
it
And
is.
there's a lot of long hours, and there's not hardly any money in it either. And there might sometimes seem like there are 1,000 reasons not to do it. But if you have that spark and it's something that you want to do, taking the first step and actually fucking hitting the go live button for the first time is a huge accomplishment. And that in and of itself should be incredibly praised because there are so many people who allow that fear and who allow that that wall that they build of all of the reasons not to do it, to prevent them from ever even starting.
Exactly. Exactly. And thank you for that, because that's one of the things about a positive self-assessment is identifying places where you're overly harsh on yourself, right? And that you're sitting there and you're going, well, I need to do this and this and this and this and this and this, and I'll never get there. And you don't have to do that to yourself. You can forgive yourself for not being an expert immediately. You know, there's an old webcomic involving a dog where the dog is refusing to give the stick after fetch. And it's like, no take, only throw. And like a frequent thing in our household right now is if I'm succumbing to the perfectionism and I'm kind of acting like that, usually the phrase that kind of snaps me out of it is, no practice, only good. And that's not how reality works.
No. And this concept, by the way, is not unique to streaming. This is a life overarching concept of, if you allow yourself to be paralyzed by the reasons why not to do something or to not attempt to achieve whatever level of success it is that you're looking for, then you have essentially succeeded in providing yourself all of the you're a self-proclaiming prophecy at that point,
Yeah.
and saying that, I can't do it because of all this stuff. Well, it's like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because apparently the reasons not to do it are so overwhelming for you at that moment that you're choosing not to do the thing. That's why and that's fine if that's the position that you're in. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just saying that being the person to make that step of whatever it is, if it's a job or a relationship or kids, whatever, that's a huge moment for you in your life, and that should be celebrated, and it should be, something that you are proud of.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Evans, I think that streaming presents the unique challenge because you can't really practice behind the scenes like you can with most other things. So that's a really interesting point. It's hard to practice with it. One of the things that I used to kind of quasi practice is public speaking in general. So when it's a little bit hard to sort of think about public speaking as far as, practicing with nobody there, but oftentimes the difference between a successful speech and an unsuccessful speech is precisely practice of just talking to a room. I remember I used to have this stuffed animal that I would practice with, and I would frequently record or videotape myself and then watch back the footage to see if I can catch tics, if I can catch hiccups in my rate or my diction, or even just bad, weird habits. Like for a long time, I used to present like this, like literally shoulders up, and just kind of sway back and forth as if I were some kind of tree, swaying in the wind with my leaves just growing out of my face. But eventually I'm like, no, you don't have to be the tree. You can be a person.
No, there actually are a couple of ways that you can practice. If you happen to have one or two people that are incredibly supportive and are willing to help you with this, what I would suggest is pulling up OBS and pulling up Discord at the same time and streaming instead of to Twitch. Don't hit the go live button, but rather record it. So it's live recording. And instead of having Twitch chat, have Discord chat and stream it, like show your screen in Discord, and then have a couple of people in there, not verbally, but typing to you in the Discord chat. And you can practice doing that if that's something that you feel like you would be helpful to you. You can do that. And you can always hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, diversify your content by editing that video and putting it up on YouTube.
All right. Exactly. That's such a great idea. I really like that idea because, even if you don't have a Discord server, you do have friends on Discord, hopefully, and you can just do it in a private message. You can just kind of say, hey, here's a private,
or you can always do it in our Discord too.
Yeah, you could do. And in fact, we could totally set up appointments for that.
I'm just saying we could do that if you need it.
If you need sort of practice time, we can absolutely do that. So yeah, there are ways to sort of go about, doing that. It's just sort of unintuitive because frequently we're not, especially, with the recent reduction of education programs, we're not taught about communication and public speaking as much anymore. And it's a shame because it's a really vital skill, and it's precisely what enables us to do the things that we're doing right now. So
in fact, I don't think people now in school, at least where I'm at teaching, I teach 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and I have not ever had a student who's had any kind of speech, period.
Oof.
So that means that they're going into 14 years old, high school age, without ever having spoken publicly in front of people. And
that is very, very, very problematic, if only because not only is public speaking a really vital skill for professionalism, it's also the most feared one.
Yes.
There are literal studies that show that people would literally rather die than speak in public. And I'm like, guys, we have a problem here. And so when I don't want to downplay all you need to do is learn some speaking techniques, and then there you go, and it's all good. What do I sound like, Ernie from Sesame Street?
I don't know.
Okay, Bert.
But I think the biggest reason why people have that fear is because it's, what are they going to think of me?
Yeah.
Oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to say?
Yeah.
How am I going to be perceived by others?
Yeah.
So if there's a way that you can get beyond that, I think that will usually solve a lot of the jitters for that.
Exactly. And notice that, I have a particular technique and both Cuddle and I have our own techniques of when we're making errors in our speech, when we're being unclear or something goofy is happening, we have different ways of overcoming that. For me, I'm the kind of person who wants to point directly at it and go, oh, that's funny. That's my technique. Cuddle has a different technique. Nuke's going to have a different technique. Let's Be Honest has a different technique. Dalish has a different technique. All of us have different techniques of managing our own public speaking in an authentic way. And that's going to come through practice. And if it's the case where you absolutely positively need other people for practicing, our Discord is open and we are ready and waiting for you. So is that the last slide? I think that's the last slide. It is. You've reached the end of the presentation. That's at least what it says to me. So we're going to go back to chat scene real quick. Bam. So questions, comments, concerns, and any kind of ideas. It's okay if you need to take a moment to digest this too. We've just laid a huge amount of information on you in about an hour and 17 minutes at a breakneck pace. So
what do they say? It's like buying a house right now. It's like, okay, we're gonna hold hands, and then it's like, wait, wait, go,
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 go.
go, 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 go. Exactly. It's like it's basically the avalanche model of education. Oh, Lord. So,
But
yeah,
it's true.
it's
All
true.
of it is true.
Yeah. It's one of those things where we can tell you 1,000 times too, and sometimes it's okay if things seem still opaque until you actually do it. Like sometimes that works that way, like it's drinking from the fire hose. You're sitting there. I'm glad someone remembers UHF as well as I do. It's like time to drink from the fire hose, and then next thing you know, off goes the kid. So yeah. But we hope this has been helpful. And if you think of questions, if you think of concerns or comments, please come in the Discord. There's a whole Team Sanity Academy section, and you can post in the help channel, and we can hopefully give you good answers. And even if we give you a bad answer again, we can take another swing at it, because that's kind of who we are as people. Because we're just true. Like, if you don't do it right first time, okay, try again. Don't do it right then, try again. You got to fail better.
I just want to elaborate maybe, or illuminate rather, one thing before we move on.
Yeah.
Is that it is okay. In fact, it is encouraged to take a concept of a stream, or what it means to be the stereotypical version of that streamer, and change it and make it your own to fit what you want to present for content.
Right.
So, for example, the two of us, we both stream a significant amount of horror. We're both, I think, strongly rooted for me, not entirely, but strongly rooted in horror. And I think you are too, primarily, if not all, horror, right?
Yeah. I
don't know if you've played like 1 or 2 games here or there, but
yeah, it's like 1 or 2 games, maybe a long time ago.
Right. So we both have the same niche, but we are 2 very different branches of that tree, and we both provide a very different take on horror, on the content, on what we do with it as a medium. Our purpose is different, and we've both created 2 incredibly unique and separate versions of what we do with that content. That's what you really should be trying to do, is not to be the same cookie cutter. Oh, look, scare, I scream, scare, I scream. Because that's like base level. You really want to try to say, okay, and now what with it? And then that's where you're going to get the 2 different, kinds of branches that we are, I think, a good example of.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. That is absolutely right. When it comes to branching out, a lot of it, some of it's organic, like you don't have to have it all pre-planned, but having just a little bit of a nudge. So
right.
I lean into, the sort of Bob Ross stuff. I also lean into explaining why horror is horrifying, like certain things, like, what are zombies actually representative of, and having a discussion of that. Or what about, fears about structural problems in this particular game. There's a game called Night Delivery that is about how a very particular place treats disabled people. Like that's what it's about. Even though it's in a horror context, I just sort of explain that, and then we get like a discussion about it. And that's sort of where I'm coming from. And then Cuddle is...
I start on that branch, but then I take that and say, okay, well, I'm going to use these as a way for me to face fears that are rooted in trauma.
Yeah.
And because in my real life background, I have a lot of training, specialized training in dealing with people who have those feelings and emotions because of my teaching children, that I use that training and stuff to kind of then also piggyback into, okay, now we're going to go into feelings and talk about how everything's going to be okay and you're going to be okay and I'm here if you need me and that kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a big sweep of horror.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
So, and I think when you're thinking about, whatever content genre you like, this approach that we're talking about here can help stymie one more stumbling block that I think people run into, which is they look at other streamers and they go, oh crap, they had my idea and they're doing it better than I would. And to that we say, no, we first we sympathize and go, yep, nope, been there. And then we say, no, it's okay. Because you're going to do it the way you're going to do it. And the whole like better or worse kind of distinction isn't really useful here, because a lot of times you're just starting out and it doesn't make any sense to be like better or worse, to someone who's been streaming for 7 years or whatever. But also too, it's also a matter of inevitably you're going to mutate, it's going to be a different kind of thing just through however you interact and whatever you discover along the way. So maybe, trust the journey, as it were.
And that's a better way to think of it, is like, so, and I think we're also a really good example of this, even though Stranger Peace and I are both very deeply rooted into the same niche. We are two completely separate branches, but that does not mean that someone can watch one and not the other.
Right.
The reason why that someone could come into my stream but also then enjoy his stream is because we offer different things. And that's where I think a lot of the meat and potatoes of this presentation is coming from, is figuring out and developing what it is that makes you and your content and your channel unique to you. And you're going to find people that will have similar ideas in mechanics or similar ideas in plugins and extensions and art and stuff like that. Yes, but they cannot replace you and who you are. So we're not competitors, Stranger Peace and I. We are both on our own individual journey who happen to be inside of the same niche. They're two completely different things.
Exactly.
We're not Target v Walmart.
Right.
That is not where we are.
Right. Exactly. And I'm so glad, like, you're just spitting fire today. Like, absolutely. Like, absolutely. Like, I cannot stress enough. And like, maybe in another future lesson when we're talking about figuring out what your niche is and that kind of stuff, like, we should talk about this more. But plugins are not a substitute for presentation. Sorry.
No. Or personality.
Yeah. Like,
just like boobs will not make up for your shitty personality.
Yep. That's good dating advice, by the way.
Sorry.
Like, generally. Doesn't matter. Hey, Boatshed, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. And
well, damn. I mean, them's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Them's the facts.
Yeah, like, I have too many personal examples I'm not going into on stream. Not going to do that, but I can absolutely say.
Also, one other thing I'm going to add really quickly, because I just thought of it.
Yeah.
So you identify as a horror streamer, correct?
That's correct.
It is worth noting, if you do not feel like your stream, your channel, your content, and you fit in a niche perfectly, it is 1000% okay, and I would think encouraged to say fuck it, make your own damn category.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where my acceptance streamer thing came in, is because the focus is not on the horror, it's on the content of the feelings and all the other shit that I provide.
Exactly.
So that, oh my god,
got KF Logan 1875 with a party of 42. Hi. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Welcome, Field Vandal. Welcome by Pagan Man. I love the name. Kevin, you mad lad. I love it. I love it.
Monkey emote thingy?
It is a dancing, it's a tiny monkey. I love it. Thank you so much for the follow, main captain. Thank you so much for, oh my God, we have so many. Michael Mistaken, main captain, Pendinus Rex, tiny monkey army. I love it. I absolutely love it. We are, oh my God, thank you so much. Oh,
thank you guys.
I'm getting flustered.
Welcome on in.
We're talking about, today is the Stream Academy. We just finished a presentation about narrowing your stream content and that kind of thing. And now we're talking about sort of the meat and potatoes of like, look, when you're talking about where you fit in and how to go about fitting into what your goals are as a streamer, what does that actually entail? What does that actually look like? And what kind of pitfalls can you avoid? And yeah, thank you so much. Y'all are so nice and so Kevin said you were good people and we were to be on our best behavior. I appreciate that. We can be spicy, but that is we appreciate the effort and thought behind things. Thank you for the spicy emote.
We have to put those in there.
Yeah,
there's a reason why they're present.
Exactly. And if you want to take a look at the slideshow, if you want to take a look at what we've got here, I encourage you to join the Discord, and you too can have. There we go. You too can download all the slides that we've had so far. You can ask for help in case there's something going on with your stream that you want to try to improve, or if you want to practice, or if you want to try something out and experiment. We are here for you. So it is in the Discord in lesson plans. So
you have to have, under the self-selected roles, you'll have to accept the Academy section role to have access to it, but you can download it straight from there.
Perfect.
It's embedded in there. Stranger Pews,
yeah.
who is Team Sanity, and what exactly do we do here?
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. So we are members of Team Sanity, which is a streamer collective that is all about inclusion, acceptance, diversity, as well as having a huge amount of fun with each other, all under the auspices of the great Cuddlefish, who is right over here.
Hi.
And we showcase other people. We ask them in interview questions. We have an international division. We have a non-international division. We have the education.
We have Team Sanity After Dark, we get a little spicy.
We have Team Sanity After Dark, and in case you need some time to get to know us in the very ASMR way, apparently. We have the education stream here, and yeah, basically we are here to celebrate you. We are here to help you out. We are here to make sure that you feel wanted, affirmed, and know that you matter in your life. That is the whole deal. So I think that about, did I miss anything, Cuddle?
I think you got it. We have 3 streams every week at the moment. We showcase international or non-American streamers on Saturdays. Sundays, like today, we have the Academy, where we try to aim and teach small streamers, like super small streamers just starting out, some of the basics. We have adapted our own whole streamer approach off of the whole student approach of teaching. All the people who are on this particular channel are actual IRL educators. So I myself teach middle school, teaches university. We have G Teach as well, who also teaches middle school. And then we have Monday nights, we have our After Dark, which gets a little bit of spiciness, where we also showcase other streamers. But essentially, we are a team of service. We serve others, and that would be other streamers.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Nick Potkin, for the follow. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. So yeah, and if you ever want to know about us individually, you can also do !stranger and !cuddle.
Yes.
And there you can get our little blurbs. They're right there. Yeah, thank you so much, and we appreciate all of you being here. I'm trying to think of where we can go from here. Like, we've been talking for about an hour and 30. Is there anything else you want to cover today?
I think that I was mid-sentence. I can just wrap up my
Yeah.
my thought.
Do it.
of just if you don't feel like you or your content or your channel fits into one of these stereotypical predetermined roles like horror streamer or um I don't know, one of the other ones, uh hype streamer, one of the predetermined ones, you feel free to make your own. Nobody here is like the the boss of Twitch. Like nobody's gonna say, "Oh, you can't do that."
Right.
And that's where I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm an acceptance streamer, and I can define what that means for me. And I encourage you all, if you don't feel like you fit into one of the niches, fucking make your own.
Yeah.
There's nobody gonna tell you no, and that just gives you more freedom to really be who you are and what it is that is important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you could, like, for instance, one way that you could even go about it is you can have like the quick, you're in an elevator pitch kind of deal. You know,
Yes.
it's like, okay, you know, here's the quick and easy version. And then when they start to get to know you, it's like, well, yeah, I'm a horror streamer, but mainly what I have to do is I'm also a philosophy educator. So we dig into the philosophical implications of horror. And then we also, I'm also a TTRPG writer, blah, 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 blah. And then you start unpacking it. So that's like, whoa, you're more than a horror streamer. Okay,
Yeah.
now I feel like I'm finding out a mystery. And people love mysteries, especially when you're mysterious. So,
Especially when you have the voice of like some Greek god who can blow down arrows of lightning and break your very soul.
look, all I'm saying is I'm not Zeus. I know I'm not Zeus, but Hades is another
I was
story.
gonna say at least a little bit of Hades.
Just a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. I just enjoy being in the underworld, and I have my good dog. Anyway. So yeah, if you have questions, come ask us on the Discord. If you have any kind of concerns or dilemmas, like let's say you just had a bad stream and you're like, crap,
Yeah.
I need to vent about this. What did I do wrong? Come on. We're here. Bring it in. Bring it in. We got it. We got you.
Every single one of us has fucking been there.
Oh, yeah.
If you meet a streamer who's like, I've never had a low stream, they're fucking lying to you.
Correct.
Because every single person has had a stream where they didn't have anybody come in and chat, a stream where they didn't even have anybody come in, or a stream where none of the sound worked, or a stream where the audio sucked, or a stream where everything shut down. I had my cat unplug every ounce of electrical equipment inside of my room.
Oh, no.
Mid-sentence in a stream right after one of the biggest raids I've ever gotten.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I went 8 hours of content with nothing but just the sax sounds from Careless Whisper on, and nobody fucking told me. It's just a whole other thing, wondering why in the world that was seen as like, oh yeah, this tracks. This is totally a cuttlefish. I don't know, but like it happens to literally everybody.
Yeah.
Every single person.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
don't feel bad.
Yeah. Don't feel
And if
bad.
you need people to be like, I swear to God, I'm going to quit streaming today. Hold on, breathe, come talk to us. And
Yeah.
We'll walk you through it.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. We got you back. We got you back. All right. We wanted to raid the Reluctant Hermit, if I believe that's correct.
Yes. So the Reluctant Hermit, we actually showcased them last year.
Mhm.
And then they came back on for our Streamer Rewind, which is our huge event at the end of the year. We bring everybody back on and be like a where are they now kind of thing. And the Reluctant Hermit just hit partner, and we're so proud of them.
Oh my God, partner!
So they're doing a 24-hour stream where they just celebrate the fact that they became partner. And, they were really supportive of the team, and we in turn also supported them. So I feel like it would be a good match.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go ahead and get that raid started. Again, join the Discord if you have any questions, concerns, or comments. We are here for you. This is Stranger Peace, otherwise known as Streaming Raccoon in Disguise, wishing you a lovely streaming. Be bold, be brave, be on that live button, and cuttlefish.
What's up? Yeah. No, I'm kidding. We love you, and we think you're amazing. And that's, you're all of the special. You are made of amazing. So, scientific fact.
Scientific fact. And much like science, it is inevitable. It does not care.
And it's true whether or not you believe it.
Yep,
So.
exactly. So there you go. This is Stranger Peace and Cuttlefish signing off. Have a lovely night.
Bye.
Bye.